So with all the DLCs for Battlefield 1 out there in the wild now, it's safe to assume that the chances of more weapons being added to the game is pretty slim. We did just yesterday learn that the CTE is returning, with more balancing and testing happening to improve already live content, but so far, nothing concrete or tangible for the future of Battlefield 1. With that in mind, I think it's time we look at possibly the most well-rounded light machine gun currently available in the game, the LMG 0818. This weapon now stands as the light machine gun that populates most of the support class for me. Of the 3 loadouts I have, 2 of them are taken by each of the variants of this machine gun. I think it combines many aspects of what makes other light machine guns in the game so unique, and bundles them into one package, and it makes it kind of a jack-of-all-trades light machine gun, giving you a fighting chance in any situation that you really happen to find yourself in. And interestingly, a little side note here, both the LMG 0818 and the MG14 Parabellum, that's one of the machine guns added with the Russian DLC, both of those in real life are air-cooled variants of the MG08, and that was Germany's standard issue medium machine gun used during World War I. That's the one you see in all those pictures with the huge tripod on it that takes 3 or 4 people to operate. Both of these weapons are sort of descendants of the MG08. Okay then, let's dig into why I think this light machine gun, the LMG08, is perhaps the best one that you can be using right now in Battlefield 1. First of all, fire rate and ammo capacity. The LMG 0818 reaches higher than some of those lighter machine guns like the BAR and the Masson. They're not real machine guns, they're kind of more like rifles. And the LMG 08 actually competes with much heavier duty weapons like the Perino, the MG15 and the Lewis gun. But somehow it still feels like a properly lightweight light machine gun, and that sounds kind of weird to say, but it's kind of what it feels like, even though it looks more like the heaviest of the lot, because it's got that Maxim body shape that's really iconic of German machine guns from World War I. With the low weight variant stocking 100 rounds, and the suppressive stocking 200 rounds in a drum magazine, both variants will require very little maintenance during gunfights. The 100 rounds of the low weight variant should be more than enough to dispatch a few enemies before you have to reload. Rate of fire on the LMG 08 stands at 600 rounds a minute, and that's actually on level with the BAR, which is a much more mobile support gun, and it's more akin to an assault rifle than anything else. And this means at close to medium range, with the LMG 08 you're going to stand a good chance against the assault class's SMGs, and you should easily be able to take down medics who have the much more cumbersome self-loading rifles to contend with. 600 rounds a minute should mean plenty of rounds hitting their target, bringing enemies down nice and quickly if you've got the jump on them. If they're looking at you and firing back, it might take you a little bit longer to land all those shots. And rounds fly at 870 meters a second when they leave the barrel of the gun. So at longer range shooting, especially using the bipod, this should mean less leading of the target and more consistent landing of shots. The next thing we've got to talk about is the reload system. DICE has really outdone themselves with the reload animations on some of the weapons in Battlefield 1, and considering the game is set during a time of technological advancement, so many nations, so many armies trying to find the best solutions, it seems fitting that we should see so many different systems on display in Battlefield 1. Previous machine guns like the Perino and the MG14 Parabellum have had some standout reload animations, but this one here on the LMG 08 I think takes the biscuit. At any point where there are still bullets left in the drum, when initiating a reload, the soldier will use the handle on the drum to crank back in that belt of ammunition before disconnecting the drum from the weapon and replacing it with a brand new full one. The more rounds that have been spent from that drum, the more the belt needs to be cranked back in, thus extending the time that it takes to reload the weapon. On the 200 round suppressive variant, it would simply be wiser to spend all the ammo in the drum before reloading it if you're past half full, because it will take you so long to reload you've probably forgotten what you were doing by the time the weapon is ready to go again. Plus, and this is the cool part, DICE decided to add a community-driven Easter egg into the reload of the suppressive variant, and I showed you it in the intro to this video. If you fire all of the rounds from the 200 round drum magazine down to just the last 13 and then hit reload on that 13th round, more often than not you're going to hear a pop goes the weasel Jack in the Box sound play as you crank the belt back in. Now, this idea was suggested by Flakfire during the CTE testing of the weapon. He posted a short clip on Twitter, and I think it was more of a joke than anything else, but lo and behold, it ends up in the final Battlefield 1 game. And that, to me, is just a symbol of the great relationship between the community and the people working on the Battlefield franchise. Next, I want to talk about the damage model and the recoil statistics, and this is probably the deciding part, for me at least, that swayed me away from other machine guns. Maximum damage of the LMG-08 sits at 28 out to just 11 meters, giving you a 4-shot kill potential at close range, and then the damage drops to 21 out at 35 meters, so it's rather a sharp drop-off for this weapon, but you're still going to be able to drop enemies in 5 shots outside 35 meters, so you've still got plenty of power there. As I mentioned earlier, that 600 rounds per minute rate of fire means at close range, the weapon can be very quick at dispatching enemies, so the rather severe damage drop-off, I think, balances the rate of fire quite nicely. When it comes to recoil, the LMG-08-18 trumps its brother, the MG-14 Parabellum. Both of these weapons compete quite a lot across their statistics, which makes sense considering both of them are derived from the same larger weapon, the MG-08. Upwards recoil on the LMG-08 is 0.42, and horizontally it's 0.575, which is comparatively easier to control than the MG-14 Parabellum. That weapon does have a lower vertical recoil value, but a much higher horizontal value, meaning unless you use a bipod, shots are going to be going everywhere with the Parabellum. Whereas with the LMG-08, that feels much more controllable in the range where it's supposed to work best. Of course, that is medium range. If you add to that a lower first shot recoil multiplier for the LMG-08 over the MG-14 Parabellum, you really can see why it trumps its brother. I think really the only bad thing that you can say about the LMG-08-18 is it's not a weapon that every Battlefield 1 player can actually use, and that's a shame considering how enjoyable it is to use. With it being a DLC weapon, only players who've bought the DLC, the Apocalypse one, or who have a premium pass can unlock and use it. And I know I bang on about this all the time, and I know there are a few people out there who have very differing opinions to me, but I really do hope that DICE and EA reconsider their DLC strategy for Battlefield 2018 and remove these segregating DLC systems in favour of keeping the community together. With other companies now pushing harder than ever to have cross-platform play between consoles, I'm looking at you, Fortnite, I think the best step that DICE and EA can actually take is to remove the community-splitting DLC and replace it with something else, and at least keep all the community together so they can access all the content at the same time. With the ever-growing amount of time that I've spent using the LMG-08-18 so far, I really am struggling more and more to find reasons why I'd want to use anything else in the support class. The low-weight variant is perfect as an agile heavy hitter at close to medium range, and the suppressive is great for setting up bipoded and picking off enemies at distance, where you can take people down in just 5 shots. I'd say the low-weight variant is the one you want to be using more. There are better bipoded weapons out there. But as I said at the start, I think the LMG-08 simply takes a lot of characteristics from other support class weapons and combines them into a great middle ground package, making a great choice for almost any situation that you might find yourself in. I'd encourage you guys to go and give this weapon a go if you haven't already, and if you've got any differing opinions on the weapon, leave those down below in the comments section and I'll be down there reading as many as I can. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.